Hey, my name is Sean. Welcome to Echoes in Eternity Bourbon. Have you ever had a bomb go off in the middle of the day?
Everything's gonna be fine.
So, yesterday I was kind of putting together some notes for a video that I wanted to put out that was about bourbon hunting, how I collect and hunt bourbon. You may hear a dog in the background. Sorry about that. This is Finn. He's our rescue. He's very attached to my wife. She's out for a little bit, so he decides that he likes to be real vocal when she's gone. But we get back to the point at hand. So, putting together the notes yesterday, and all of a sudden I start getting emails, texts, a phone call. Hey, have you seen 13th Colony? What's going on there? And so, personally, I had anticipated myself that I would be going down to the distillery, on the first Saturday of October, because I kind of thought that, hey, it's going to be late September, that we're looking at the release of their bourbon out there. Hey, Finn, that they'll be releasing their bourbon out there, and the double oaked would potentially be there. But then they put out an email blast that basically says, we're not going to be releasing this at the distillery. And so you have to take a little time sometimes to digest things. Well, I don't know where we went with digest, but digest things and understand the reasons why. And I'll tell you very upfront, any interaction I've ever had with 13th Colony with the people there has been amazing. I still definitely encourage going on a tour. If you're in the area, to go on a distillery tour. They do a great job. Megan and her husband Brian normally run the tours. Anytime I've ever been there, they've been outstanding. I've had a couple of tours there, and there's videos on that. They've just been outstanding hosts. But the one thing that they're not equipped for is potentially the insanity and the madness that would follow the cult following that the Double Oaked has right now. And so in order to be safe, they didn't want to have a lot of people there showing up. So I'll go through kind of what the insider said, and then I had some emails back and forth with another awesome person there, Danielle, that just kind of, hey, just want to make sure I understood this, and then we'll go from there. But let me just give you some of the reading on it first. So it says, 13th Colony Insider. Hello, insiders. Today we wanted to share two important details regarding the 2023 Double Oaked release. First, where will the 2023 Double Oaked be released? And will our distillery in Americus, Georgia, have Double Oaked for sale? So, basically what they said in here was, Double Oaked will not be available at the 13th Colony Distillery in Americus. Why? We care about our customers. 13th Colony is a working distillery and not set up to manage large crowds. Absolutely believe that. Once you get more than about 15, 20 people going through it does make it a safety hazard for people. They do not have it's not a huge distillery. This is still a smaller craft distillery that's putting out amazing stuff, but they don't have the capacity that maybe some of these other distilleries have put together on the Bourbon Trail to walk people through, make sure that it's being managed for large crowds in a safe way. Absolutely agree with that. And it says here, the safety of our customers and the friendly, personalized experience that we pride ourselves in at our distillery would be compromised. Totally agree with that. This is made for a small, more intimate group of anywhere between 5 and maybe 20, 25 people tops. So you can actually have the question and answer time. They can, you're not having to listen at other people maybe talking in the background. You understand the whole process that they go through, and they share everything that they do. And so that jives in line with everything I've seen there. Our mission is to produce award-winning spirits to be shared. Thank you for that. To be shared among friends, and allocating Double Oak across multiple states and online gives more people the opportunity to enjoy this unique expression. And that's the one goal they've kind of had, was they want to make sure they get this into a lot of people's hands. They don't want it going to one place or people coming in and grabbing everything. And they've even have two distributors set up now online. So it can't just be one website being pounded the whole time. It gives you an option to go to another website, which then opens up things for hopefully some more customers to try this. So let's go back through a little bit more of the community update on this. They had talked about that they were going to have this now released in multiple states as well. So not only here in Georgia, but they'll have it in Tennessee, Arkansas, Texas, and there was one other state as well. And so, you know, what that does is it broadens it out a little bit. So you're not just going to get one person that has a hookup at a store and goes and gets a case or two of this and then goes straight secondary on this. You know, is there going to be potential issues when these different stores get these, that they're going to put it at a secondary price? Absolutely there is. And that's kind of beyond their control. I did email yesterday, and and I'll tell you what, like I said, everyone there has been awesome. So yesterday I was emailing back and forth with Danielle, and she says, and I'll read it verbatim, except for, I'm not going to give you her phone number. But it says, "Hey, Sean, thanks for the note. It was the decision that leadership thought long and hard about before making. I agree with that. We truly want to be a friendly and respectful organization to our customers. Everything I've always seen from them has always been they've been very transparent. They've been very, very polite, very kind, and I think they've been respectful. You've been to our distillery. I've been there a couple of times. It would not be a great place for 100+ people to show up, and we really don't want people to have a bad experience." And I absolutely agree with that. I think it's set for a more small, more intimate experience. So you get some of the history behind it. You get to see the actual working distillery. I mean, you're in the guts of it. And if you have that many people there, it's not going to be an enjoyable experience, because people are just going to be showing up and they want their end bottle. It'll be a muddled and muddied experience, and it wouldn't be a good experience for people. So they're saying that their release date is going to be late September. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't give a firm date, but what I would anticipate is somewhere, this is just me speculating. I have no insight on this. Is that you're probably looking at somewhere September 22nd to the 30th, the end of the month. That's what I would consider late, and it'll be approaching on a weekend, so a Friday or a Saturday. And that's when I think it would probably be out. Regarding the ware locally, they have very little control over the product after it leaves their warehouse. So that is a true statement. So what happens is it goes from distillery to distributor to then it goes to your local liquor store. That's a 3-tiered system. So what happens there is they get it to their distributor. Their distributor then gets it out, however many they have for their local area, will then get it in turn out to their liquor stores. And how they do that is another thing altogether. Those may or may not know, Buffalo Trace just had a huge issue with their distillers basically making liquor stores pick up other products that weren't Buffalo Trace products in order to get Buffalo Trace products. Now, I'm sure that the distributors now know that if you're trying, the liquor salesmen, they're trying to make their money on commission, and they know that this is going to be a hot product. So they're going to want to sell other stuff to make sure that they're getting the best bang for their buck, which then forces the liquor stores that if they're have stuff shoved down their throat and to put it in the back, that it makes it tough on them now to go ahead and sell this at MSRP. And that's the one question I meant to ask Danielle, is to go back and say, what is your suggested retail price on this? Because I'm curious to see how much that may or may not inflate depending on where it goes. So I after I found out about this, the first thing I did was I called someone that I trust that has their own liquor store. And I said, "Hey, tell me about this. This is where it's going to be as a distributor. What are your opportunities to get this? Let me read some more of this too, because it actually ties in very nicely. It says, our Georgia distributor will sell products to local liquor retailers. We have asked they try to get product to stores that support 13th Colony products, but ultimately we can only ask as it's their product at that point. So all 13th Colony can do is say, hey, distributor, please make sure you're putting this where our products are at and people that have supported our products. But at the end of the day, 13th Colony loses any opportunity to say to what stores it's going to, because they have that separation of the distributor. So, and talking to someone local that I trust that runs his own liquor store, he called and what he got from the distributor was actually almost verbatim what Danielle. So they actually saying, at least in theory, that their goal is to make sure that the people that are supporting 13th Colony already are going to be the stores that they try to get the biggest allocations to. Now, what is the biggest allocation to mean? I don't know. Is it 1 case, 3 cases? Don't know. But if you know an area and you have a store that you're at, and they have a lot of 13th Colony products there, because they not only do the rye and the bourbons, but they have a very nice gin and a vodka, and so if they're already supporting that, there's a good opportunity that'll come in already. Now, does it mean that they're going to say, hey, but you need to get some more of this, and the owners of those stores will have to take on more inventory so they can get some of these bottles? That's potential there too. But at least the distributor's telling the liquor store at this point, hey, we're really trying to make sure these go to stores that already support 13th Colony. So absolutely love that. And she says, if you'd like to give me a call, I'd be happy to explain further or answer any additional questions. My cell phone is, no, you're not getting that. So that was just a joke there at the end there. But like I said, they're awesome people, willing to talk with. They're trying to let the people know what they're doing. They don't want to have anyone hurt or chaos at their facility, because it's important to them. And it's always rung true anytime I've been there or dealt with anybody there, that it is very important to them and people have a good experience when they're there. So what that does is it tells you that you're going to have 2 different online distributors that are coming out. It also tells you that it's going to go to multiple states, and they're also asking the distributor to get it to the people that already support their product. And it sounds like that distributor's already relaying that message out, which is good. It's all in line. It's outstanding. Now, was I disappointed that it wouldn't be at there? Yes, but I also understand the why they want to do it. And it's important for not only the safety, but for the experience of their customers. And I appreciate their transparency on it. And I sent something even back to Nando, because I've talked to him before as far as, could a potential get a sample of the new stuff so I can compare it versus the old. And they said, this is a really rare stuff for us, and we don't even hold back samples, 2-ounce samples for this, because we want it to get into everyone's hands. So, and I respect that. Did my little feelings get hurt? Nah, not really. I would have loved to have a sample, but I understand that they're putting customer first over things. And that's what you want from any business, is that they're handling things customer first. And I appreciate it. And I even sent something back to Danielle. I said, I know that I may never get a bottle of this next batch coming out, even though there's more quantity. A lot of people have it on their radar now, and it's going to be harder to get. But at least I know there's opportunities if I know how to hunt. And that brings me into the segment of, how do I hunt bourbon? And there's a neat little quote that'll come across on the front of this, is How I Met Your Bourbon. And this is actually a great Instagram name from a gentleman that I met a few weeks ago at a bourbon tasting. That's his Instagram, is How I Met Your Bourbon. So I thought that was a great way to kind of segue into how I hunt bourbon. So I have 5 different key lists that I use when I hunt bourbon. You may use some of these, you may not. But the first thing I'll tell you is, You're never going to walk into a store. Well, I won't say never, but rarely will you walk into a store, see a bottle that's hard to find on the shelf at MSRP and expect for it to be there to come back every time that you go there. It just doesn't happen that way. So here's the things that I do when I realize there's something I want to hunt. And hunting bourbon is just like anything else. If you're a hunter, you hunt animals. If you fish, you have to understand the landscape of things. So the first thing I put in there is, what are you willing to invest? Time, money, a little bit of both, because you have to understand that if it's something you want in life, you're going to have to invest it. And, like the Alabama bourbon drops, I invest time to get stuff at MSRP. If there's something I'm really wanting, I'll invest maybe some more money so I can check into it if I know that it's going to be hard to get. So you have to have that clear up front. Are you willing to invest the time or maybe even some money? Not saying you have to buy everything at full secondary, but realizing if you develop these relationships with people, and that'll get into that further, that if you know how to invest your time and money, it opens up different opportunities. So some people have more time than money, and other people have more money than time. But find out what works for you so you know how to start hunting. The second rule I have is understanding your area. That's the biggest thing. I've got a very nice area that I can hunt bourbon here in Columbus, Georgia. And then the surrounding areas, whether it's in Alabama bourbon drops, LaGrange, sometimes up in Atlanta area, I have a great place to hunt bourbon. But I understand my area. It's just like if you're going fishing. If there's 8 people at your fishing hole, you probably ain't going to catch a lot of fish. So if you're going to a store that's a lot of people are always there and going through stuff, that's going to be an overhunted area. Look for stores that may not be as hunted as hard. Look for something on a different end of town. Look at something that's maybe a little more rural. Look for maybe a littler store that not everyone goes to. Understand the areas that you're going to be hunting bourbon at. If you understand your landscape and you know what stores people are going to be in all the time, it diminishes your opportunity to catch that big fish or get that big bottle. So check out some other areas. Understand your area. Number 3, understand your stores. Every store has a different dynamic. Some stores are mass volume, and they don't have enough time really to maybe work with individuals unless they've developed those relationships over time. Other stores are a lot smaller, but they want to take care of the people that are locally there taking care of their business daily. Some of the notes I have on here is understand when they receive product. Most people, if you're genuine and you show interest in someone's business and you're genuine about it, they'll tell you, hey, we get liquor in on Wednesday or Thursday. If you want to see if we got something new, this might be the time. So understand their delivery schedules. Understand if they have programs in place. There's a couple places in town that now have point programs, and it gives me a fair expectation of I have an opportunity for bottles that maybe other people don't have because I'm investing in that store, and then in turn, they're going to make sure I get something back. So if you have a point or a loyalty system and you're talking with the people and you guys develop a true relationship, and it's a business relationship, a lot of ways because it's transactionally based, but you can also develop friendships out of it too, which I have, just because I'm curious and I love people. But understanding your stores, the dynamics behind them, if they have loyalty programs, points programs, when they receive their liquors, things like that will help you make a better educated decision on where you want to put your money at and make sure that you're in turn going to have opportunities for something in the future if you want to hunt for something that's a little bit harder to find. Point number 4, do you have a tribe? So what do I mean by do you have a tribe? Do you have a surrounding group of people that can help support you? And so when I say that, I think about Your local groups. There's a lot of local groups on Facebook that are just, hey, here's some of the bourbons I found. Here's where I'm finding stuff at that can help you out. Social media can be very good for that. YouTube channel can be great for that. If you have someone that hunts locally in your area, find that person, and if they're doing good content, it'll help you find stuff. And that's really cool, because now you've got a kind of a social network of like-minded people that can maybe help you find something that you're having trouble with, and maybe that's a harder pour for you to find. Perfect example was yesterday. I went to a local store, and they had a product there that I'd already got for myself and got for a friend. Another person was really looking for it, and I thought there'll be some bottles there. I got there empty, and I'm like, man. So I called a couple other stores that I knew had some in, empty, and so that bottle happened to be this Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Rye. And I'm like, dang it, I really was trying to get this for a friend of mine. What can I do? So I went to the tribe. I went to one of my local areas and said, hey, I'm in search of this. Does anybody know where they can help me out with this? And so someone popped in and said, hey, I actually have one of these. And I said, I'm looking to potentially trade something for it or buy it, and we talked about things, got it at the same price that he paid for it. As far as traded something for him, but we used the same trade value. Excellent guy. And as I'm trading with him and talking with him, he told me, hey, I've actually watched your channel. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's cool. So I've got someone that was local that I put into a local group. They were part of that tribe. They found a bottle for me. And then I found out, hey, they've also watched this channel. And this is going to help somebody else from this channel, which I think is awesome. So understanding building your tribe, and it takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. Building your tribe wasn't built in a day. Last one is friends, friends, and more friends. You develop great relationships with people in the bourbon community. I can't tell you how many awesome relationships I built with people, and it's just amazing. But if you have friends that like bourbon, talk to them about it. Tell them what you're looking for. Open up. You have your tribe, which is this big social media area, but then you have your inner circle, your friends. These are the ones when you're like, man, I'm really struggling finding this. Have you seen anything on this? That they can really help you out too. So those are the 5 big key points that I have when I hunt bourbon. What am I willing to invest? I understand my area. I understand the local stores. I have a tribe, and then I also have my personal friends that will help me with stuff too. Now, like any friendship, it's give and take. If I'm just take, eventually they're going to get tired of me. So I better find a way to give back. And so those were the things. I thought that this was an excellent way to talk about, the 13th colony double oaked. Now there's a new pattern out there. How are you going to hunt it? Are you going to go online? Are you going to talk to some of your store owners? Are you going to understand what's coming? And I'll try to get what the suggested MSRP is. But I think that the dynamic is changing how you're going to hunt this bottle. So I hope this information was useful. Hopefully I wasn't too long-winded. I get that way sometime. I hope you have an amazing day. The weekend's upon us. God bless.